You want to talk about slow starts in the passing game? I was watching those Chicago Bears last night. Anything you want to touch on? I heard you talking about depth of drop for these quarterbacks. Is there anything you want to cover there on the Caleb Williams front as it pertains to the pocket integrity?
Yeah, for sure. I think when you look at Caleb last night, first of all, I thought he was a lot better last night than he was
Yep.
in week one. He looked more comfortable. He's going to be sore today, though, man. He got hammered a handful of times last night. Some of that's on the O line. Some of it's on him too, right? I think one of the things you learn as a young quarterback in the NFL is that there are very specific landmarks where you have to be when you're throwing the football from the pocket. And we would talk about depth and location all the time. On a five-step drop, rhythm or timing. So if you're taking three from the gun, which equals the old school under center five-step drop, you cannot be deeper than 7.5 yards, right? And so that back foot at the top of your drop needs to hit at 8, and you better be climbing back into the center of that pocket in between the inside leg of the guards. And you better be at 7 yards, right? Somewhere right around 7 yards, because that's kind of the sweet spot for the tackles and enough space for the inside guys to kind of keep some room. The other thing I see is when you're taking 7-step drop timing, so some of those deeper down the field looks that they're trying to do, and you're taking 5 from the gun. There were 2 times last night where he was almost at 11 yards. And so I think those are things that are correctable. I think they're things that come from playing as a young player. Like, this is an area where it's not about your skill set. It's not about, what you see down the field, right? These are very specific things that you get a feel for quickly. And unfortunately, a lot of times, like for me, it would happen from getting drilled, right? And you would stand there and take one right through the chest and be like, oh God, I was at 10.5 yards. I was at 11 yards. So I think him learning to kind of get to the top of that drop and getting up into the pocket is going to be good for him. And then, I think honestly, it's going to come down to a little bit better anticipation. And I think that's coming, right? I think those are all things that you'd expect to see from a young player, and you'd expect to see get better as the year goes on. I think, if he cleans those two things up, I think, there's room for improvement, because the way their defense is playing good.
Yeah.
Like, really good. And so to me, they're going to be in ball games every week. And I think he's going to continue to improve. I think he took a step forward last night. And I think he needs to keep taking a step forward.
I counted him up. Caleb Williams, 13 hits that brought him to the ground last night. Jaden Daniels had 15 hits that brought him to the ground between sacks, QB knockdowns, runs, where he got tackled. What do you tell a quarterback? What would your advice be to a guy those two who are obviously kind of struggling to protect themselves early on in the game?
Oh, you learn quickly. You keep getting hit, you learn. So, I don't think you need to tell them much. I think they're smart guys. They'll figure it out quickly. But it really is, and that's some of the benefit, right, of playing right away, is that these kind of things that you're not even thinking about, right? Like, when you're preparing in the offseason, you're thinking about getting on time. You're thinking about your progressions. You're thinking about ball location. You're thinking about coverages. You're thinking about all these other things. But the real experience comes from, no, I need to start with the first things first. I got to be in the right place, right, to deliver the football. And I think, taking some of those lumps early is a good thing for these young guys. I think they'll make their strides, because, no one likes getting hit.
Yeah, I will say that's probably that's probably the biggest motivator, is just the pure pain that you feel.
Makes me want to get off the couch and go help
self-preservation,
somebody.
man.